Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for clicking. I know it's been a while since I posted a video. I've been kind of busy. I started a job as a medical coding tutor for a college, and they're getting close. Finals is this week, so I was busy. A lot of people were trying to get last minute tutoring sessions in. So I wanted to do the video because I had gotten a couple of emails in response to my other videos, which I do appreciate the comments and the questions. So if you have questions, please feel free to hit me up. You can respond to the in the comment section. And I'm not sure. I think I'm going to put my email address in the content section of in the description in the video. But I wanted to address some of the questions that I had. One person that reached out to me is a nurse, and she found a coding course at her local college for $4,000. That is way too much money. You can find coding resources also online that would be much cheaper. I currently have I had posted a video, but I took it down once I got the people for the course. But I am currently teaching a coding course. I have a couple of nurses that are enrolled in the course. We just finished the ICD-10 CM part, and we're getting ready to start the ICD-10 PCS next week. It went well. I created a lot of content and went over my material and just worked with them to find out which resources and which methods help them understand the information quicker and more thoroughly. So I've gotten a lot of good feedback. So I'm going to start another class. I would like to do it towards the end of this month, but if not this month, definitely next month. And I'll just do another video talking about that to give you more detail. But whether you take my course or you use another resource, $4,000 is entirely too much to spend. To become a coder, you only need to learn ICD-10 CM, ICD-10 PCS, and CPT coding. There's another code set, HCPCS, HCPCS, but you don't really use that a lot on your exam. You only use it to look up drugs and maybe like one question about a wheelchair or a colonoscopy or something for a Medicare patient. But that's very simple. But the three main code sets are ICD-10 CM, which you have to know that regardless. That's like the king of the hill. And then the other two code sets are procedure code sets. The ICD-10 PCS is an inpatient procedure code set, and CPT is for outpatient procedure code sets. So $4,000 is way too much. I'm going to put a link because there is a company that I have used. I really do. I really enjoy her. I like her as a person. I like her content, and I like how she has her website set up. So I'm going to put her information at the bottom because the bottom line is, as nurses, especially now, we have with this coronavirus, and we don't know how long it's going to last. We don't know if it's going to be a recurring thing. They're talking about already it could, the numbers could spike. It could be reinfections could spike again in the fall. And I'm just thankful that I don't have to be bedside anymore. And it's just, if you don't want to do that, like, there are options. I am, in a great position, thank and praise God. This week on Tuesday, I interviewed for a remote position. I interviewed with the vice president on Tuesday. Tomorrow I interview with the CEO. That's the final interview for the position. And because I had my first interview last week with the person who's going to be the hiring manager. And the two interviews I've had already, everybody is impressed. Every time I've interviewed with anybody, they're always impressed that I am a nurse and a coder. That's what I'm telling you. As a nurse, like, you have so many more options available. And just don't let people tell you, oh, it's hard to get into. It's not hard to get into. Once you get your certification as a nurse, you will get a job. Like, that's a no-brainer. You're going to get a job. And you just have to learn the material so that you can pass these certification exams. They're not easy. That's the hard part. Like, these exams are not easy, but if you know the guidelines, if you know how to answer questions, if you know how to eliminate, choices quickly, you'll do well. Like I said in one of my previous interviews, I have 6 coding credentials. I passed all 6 exams on the first try. I mean, I can give you all kind of tips and tricks and little nuggets to help you, pass an exam once you learn the guidelines. Because the guidelines are key. That's all the question. That's all that the exams test you on are guidelines. Every question, unless it's related to like a law or like some other kind of, like HIPAA, that those are laws. That's different. But in terms of coding, every coding question is a guideline question in some way, shape, or form. They're testing you on one of those chapter guidelines that is in the ICD-10-CM book. So once you know the guidelines, that's like more than half the battle. But another comment I received is a lot of people don't know how to get into it, and there are tons of resources. I found a lot of information by Google. Like I went to AAPC's website, aapc.com. I went to AHIMA's website, ahima.org, and there's tons of information available. And then from there, because of course, AHIMA has courses, AAPC has courses. Their courses, well, first of all, they're a lot cheaper than $4,000. Let's just start right there. But I still think they're a little too pricey. I think you can do a little better. The only thing I will use from any of those organizations is I always say, whatever exam you're trying to sit for, use that organization's study guide and practice test. That's what I pay for, because that information is invaluable. That you can't get anywhere else but through them. So that's money well spent. But also, I really just wanted to talk about just the opportunity that's available in coding as a nurse, whether you're an RN or LPN. You can the sky is really the limit. And right about now, with all of this, coronavirus, just, to bring it back up again, right now, because for risk adjustment, let me just tell you briefly about risk adjustment. Risk adjustment is Medicare Part C. It's called Medicare Advantage. It's a Medicare Part C program, which is a blend of Medicare Part A and Medicare Part B. And what that means is when a person is enrolled in a Medicare Advantage plan, CMS will pay their insurance company a flat fee per month for that person based on their condition. And they have each person generates what they call a risk adjustment score based off of their health, their state of health, whether they have chronic conditions, how many chronic conditions they have, other demographic information like age, sex. So from there, they calculate a score. Then they do some other kind of fancy calculation based off of the number of people enrolled in the program, and then they get a fee per month. And from that fee, that insurance company has to manage everything for that patient, even inpatient visits. And they have very strict guidelines for what constitutes a visit. Presently, well, up until recently, a visit had to be face-to-face. So telehealth was a no-no. Like you couldn't get paid for telehealth under very specific circumstances. So now with COVID-19, I've been reading that, CMS has approved telehealth. So that's going to be, if you want to move into auditing, that's going to be a huge area, because I can tell you just from auditing Medicare Part C, Medicare Advantage with regular face-to-face encounters, providers jack it up and they don't do it correctly. So with this coronavirus, they're not following the guidelines. And it's not, some of them it's not intentional. They just don't know. Like nobody on their staff has properly trained the providers to document correctly to get maximum or to get reimbursement, period. So they're going to have a gazillion and one telehealth audits. They're going to be looking for people who are auditors to move into like telemedicine, telehealth audits. It's going to be big moving forward, because once again, a lot of people now are doing telehealth visits because of the whole coronavirus thing. Very few people are going on site So it's going to be a huge opportunity. And CMS had been kind of holding back on it because I guess they hadn't worked out all of the kinks regarding the guidelines. But since this has happened, they have gone and said that Medicare Advantage can use telehealth. But if you want to get into auditing, learn coding, I always recommend the CCS certification over the CPC, because the CCS certification, you have to know the inpatient and outpatient code sets, so you can work either inpatient or outpatient with that credential. And most places that will require a CPC, they will also accept a CCS for outpatient. For inpatient, you have to have a CCS. Like, they very few places will take you with the CPC unless they stipulate that you have to get your CCS within like 6 months or a year. But if you get your CCS, you're done. Any other credential you want to get, beyond your CCS, your CCS has more than prepared you for it. If you want to move into auditing, for example, your CCS will definitely make your auditing, preparing for your auditing, your CPMA credential much easier. So that's really all I wanted to, to say in this video. I'm going to do another video because I want to talk about, I have a video that's up about, nurses in auditing and nurses in clinical documentation. But I'm going to do another video about nurses in data analytics, because data analytics, as in healthcare, we really don't pay attention. And as nurses, we don't pay attention to the money and where, resources go. And we also have no control over it. That's done by people in offices. But a lot of information is generated by data analytics. And as time goes on, data analytics is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's a huge opportunity for people who know coding. And if you are tech inclined, if you are interested in any kind of IT, if you could combine your nursing and your coding with IT, and in particular SQL, which the primary language in databases is relational databases is called SQL, and it's structured query language, and they call it SQL in the industry. But if you know SQL, all SQL is you just learn this computer code, and you can communicate with the database. If you want to say that the database it can have any number of clients. But let's just say it has 1,000 people enrolled in the database. You have all their health information, all their diagnoses. You can write a query to find out how many people have any number of diseases, and you can have it broken down by age, you can have it broken down by geographic region, and all those things help make business decisions. It helps companies and healthcare plans to decide where to allocate money, or even to show them where their money's going. And I don't want to get too far into it because I don't want the subject of this video to change, but that's just briefly what data analytics does. And as a nurse and as a coder with that background, you will be invaluable. And that's the area I'm moving into next. I am currently enrolled in a SQL class through udemy.com. It doesn't make sense to spend a whole lot of money to learn anything, especially nowadays, because there's all kinds of resources online for you to find it. So once I take the certification through Udemy, the course through Udemy, I'll study for a Microsoft certification. I have to take 2 exams, and after that, I'll be ready to go. So once again, if you have any questions about how to get into coding, how to transition from nursing into coding, just send me, comment in the comment section, share the video, and don't spend $4,000. The most you need to spend is maybe $2,000. If you spend $2,000, $1,500 to $2,000, I think that would be good. If you can find it cheaper, definitely I would recommend that. And there are places that are cheaper, but $2,000 would be the absolute max. So if you have any questions, please feel free to hit me up. If you have any questions about anything else or a video suggestion, let me know, and I'm more than willing to share what I know. I don't know everything. I've been in the business. I've been in coding for like 6 years now. So is it 6 years? Yeah, 6 years. So I just, I can just share what I learned, thus far, and where I think coding is going. So once again, if you have any questions, hit me up. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.